Welcome to Life in Los Angeles.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I am doing pretty fabulous.
It's so great to hear that you're doing fabulous. I'm feeling fabulous as well. So,
Yes.
where are we right now? What is this place?
Well, currently you're in South Los Angeles. You're in the
Oh.
Central Vernon neighborhood,
Oh,
better known as South Central.
oh my
And
God.
you are currently at Three Worlds Cafe. You know, your neighborhood social justice cafe.
The Three Worlds Cafe, a social justice cafe. What is that?
Absolutely. Well, we're a community-based social enterprise that grew out of a partnership between local folks, actually students who attended Jefferson High School, which is up the street, Chef Lloyd Troy, my good friend Mark Wilson over at CRCD, which is the Coalition for Responsible Community Development, and myself.
And who are you?
I'm Aqeela Sherrills.
Oh.
And I'm one of the principal partners of Three Worlds Cafe, also a longtime organizer, activist, advocate in this community.
And what are you advocating for?
Well, I grew up in a war zone in Watts, in Jordan Housing Projects, and in 1992, I was instrumental, along with my brother and some of my key partners, with organizing the peace treaty between the Crips and the Bloods in the neighborhood.
Wait a minute. How did you organize a peace treaty between two rival gangs? What did you do to participate in that?
Well, I grew up in the culture. I used to gang bang. I used to, do a lot of silly stuff, when I was a kid. And I went to college and had a transformative experience that made me question the violence that I saw happening every day in the neighborhood. So I started talking to a lot of my partners, and one conversation led to the next. Minister Farrakhan came to town in 1989 with the Stop the Killing tour. We took about 25 of our homies from the neighborhood to go hear the message. And this is at the height of the war in LA. And when I say war, I mean war. So I'm like talking about
War between who?
choosing words. Between Crips and Bloods, or so-called urban street gangs,
Okay.
which is the longest running war in the history of this country. We're talking about LA County alone over the past 3 decades. There's been over 25,000 gang-related deaths. And it doesn't include those who've been permanently maimed or those who have been incarcerated for the rest of their life behind their participation. I mean, it's a major mental health epidemic that goes unaddressed and unresponded to, because the majority of its perpetrators and victims are black and brown young people. And we still live in a pretty racist country that don't recognize our language. When we speak and we cry out for help, the system doesn't always respond. It tends to kind of turn a blind eye.
Well, how did you end up responding? Exactly. Can you give us an example of what you said to facilitate a peace treaty between two rival gangs?
Well, it wasn't a single event. Peace is a journey. It's not a destination, right? So it was a series of meetings that happened over a period of about from 1988 to 1992. And it was a lot of conversations that we had with various kind of warring factions. One of the things that's important to understand about gangs is that they're not centralized and organized. So there's no shot caller calling shots for a whole neighborhood or anything like that. It's all kind of broken up in little cliques. And if you hear that Grape Street is having a war with the bounty hunters from the Nickersons, what you're hearing actually is that there's two groups of individuals who are kind of in conflict with each other, not whole neighborhoods. And a lot of innocent people get hit in the middle, right?
Yes.
So my relationship to many of these cats, was that we used to gang bang, we used to fight each other. So when they saw that I was willing to come to the table, or say my brother, or High T or Playmate, these are cats who were real reputable dudes. Many of them who are no longer with us. But because they was willing to put down their flags and come to the table to talk about creating an environment, a healthy environment for our children, for our families, for our loved ones, it made sense. Nobody that's a part of gangs want to actually lose their life and want to kill folks.
Yeah.
The number one preemptive cause of murder in our community is self-defense. But because of the media romanticizing the violence that happens in the neighborhood, we tend to believe that Crips and Bloods is some foreign invader, that Crips and Bloods is synonymous with terrorists and with insurgent, because the title in itself actually dehumanizes the person that's behind it.
Oh, wow, you've definitely given us a history lesson on gangs and the motivations behind their behaviors, especially in South Central LA.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit what life is like now? Because this was 1992 at the height of what you and your friends helped to instigate, kind of a peaceful, treaty between these gangs. What is life like now in South Central LA?
There's still entirely too many shootings. There's too much violence still happening. However, as a direct result of our work, LA is no longer on the top 15 most violent city list. We'd have 9 consecutive years in a row of decreases in violent crime and murder. And most of this work is all due to the intervention movement, that we create a culture of peace. Whereas in the past, if you came walking up in this neighborhood and you had on all blue and you didn't know nobody, you was gonna get shot or beat, or won. But so much of that has changed as a result of the peace treaty. And I would say that today, you have organizations that now exist. You have a lot of cats who used to gangbang who have changed their lives and who now run agencies to intervene and prevent, gang violence in the community. So.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that update with us, so it makes me feel a little bit better. So can you tell me a little bit about you? Because we want to focus on you. You are Aqeela Sherrills. You've had all of this history and past and trying to uplift your community, and you continue to live in your community. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you said you live where in relation to where you grew up?
I live about 5 blocks from where I grew up at. I live on 91st Street in Central.
Oh my God, so you've never left your neighborhood, and why is that?
Because I love the hood, and I want to bring the neighbor back in the hood, because somehow, somewhere along the way it got ejected,
All right.
So I don't believe that, you can move out into a better neighborhood. I think that you should make the place in which you live in a better place.
All right.
So
that's what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the neighborhood or things you love to do for fun. Didn't we talk a little bit earlier and you said that you're into what? What do you love to do around Los Angeles?
There's a couple of things that I really love to do. LA is probably one of the most beautiful cities in the country. We have pristine beaches that are just ridiculous. And one of my favorite things to do is to go out to Dockwater Beach. They have these little pits that you could burn, firewood in. So I love going there and kind of pitching a fire in the evening time and catching the sunset and burning some wood and just kind of like watching the flame. Maybe have a glass of wine or a beer, or I love it. The other thing that I really enjoy doing, and it's a part of my healing process from all of the witnessing all of the violence and trauma that I grew up in the neighborhood with, is I go to the spa, to the We Spa or to the Crystal Spa, the Grand Spa. The Koreans have a really kind of profound theology around health and healing, and in their little 2.2 square mile radius neighborhood, they have about 9 spas. And of course, We Spa is the best, hands down. 3 stories, $15 on Tuesdays, 24 hours, immaculate. They keep this place spotless, clean. And I go to Miss Yee and get me a 90-minute acupressure massage. Then I spend time in the in the men's locker room, and I go from the hot to the cold, like kind of hydrotherapy pools, to balance the pH, get toxins out of the body. Then I go on the second floor where they got the heated floor and all of the dry sauna spaces. And I go to the clay room, and I go to the salt room, and they have this one really, really hot room. I call it the pizza oven. I love the pizza oven. It's about 220 degrees.
Oh my God.
So you go sit in there and just sweat.
Okay, you're a commercial for the We Spa.
Yes.
I've been there. I know it's awesome, and you feel me on it. Wow, you are so funny. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, they know where you like to hang out. They're going to probably come and try to catch you there. What else can you say to people who are doing research? They're watching your video because they want to understand what life is like in Los Angeles before they move here. Is there anything you can tell them briefly about Los Angeles that you think they need to know?
Yes. So there's a couple of things about LA that you need to know. One, LA is unlike any other place that you're going to visit. This place is literally the Wild Wild West, and on different levels, right? So people out here have spatial issues, you know? It's like because LA is flat and it's wide, people are used to having a space. So it's like if you get too close to folks and stuff, you know, people kind of flip out a bit. Okay. People are passive aggressive drivers here. You know, if you want to get over, like if you're on the freeway and you want to get over into the next lane, you pull up. And when you got enough space to get over, you turn on your blinker and get over. Don't turn on your blinker and then wait for somebody to let you get over because it's not going to happen. All right?
Practical tips. Wow. Okay,
Exactly.
we really appreciate that. And where are we? Where are we again? At 3310 Central Ave?
Yes, you're at 3310 Central Avenue at Three Worlds Cafe. You know, your neighborhood social justice cafe. Come get some great coffee. Come get some information. Come and just chill and chop it and get on the internet or something, you know? Yes.